Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Chris, and I hope you're all doing well. We've got a couple of people join. We've got Susie from I Run Things and Ben Notley. Please check out their channels. And we've also got, obviously, the European champion with us. So how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me, Chris.
That's all right. Well, thanks for coming on the channel. As I say, you're someone that I've been wanting to kind of pick your brains for some time. So thank you for coming on. Thank you to everyone for obviously tuning in as well. Oh, my mum's just joined as well, which is always good. But one of my biggest supporters. So, obviously, if people don't know you, what are your biggest achievements?
So, I've got quite a few achievements. So I won't go through them all, but
you can go through as many as you want.
Okay. All right. So my biggest achievement probably is actually getting started in 2012, being inspired by the London Olympic Games, and I was watching a triathlon show, and the triathlon, and that's where it started. Watching the Brownlees cross the line in first and third, and I was like, wow, I want to give it a go. So I got into running as a result of that, and I couldn't swim in 2012, and I didn't really cycle either. So I basically bought a cheap second-hand bike. And I joined the running club and started swimming. I used to swim like this. Anyway, that's another story maybe for later on. But I wasn't a great swimmer, and I did my first triathlon in 2013. Obviously, I was a novice, and I got completely injured and ripped my calf, and decided that I wanted to just give it a. Decided triathlon was probably causing me injuries, because the following year I got injured as well. So 2015, I decided to give an aquathlon a go, because my swimming was okay and my running had got better. And I thought, well, if I don't train for the bike, I won't get injured. So I stopped doing triathlon in 2013. I qualified for a GB age group team in 2016 off the back of my third aquathlon, and I turned up. I qualified for European Championships, and the following year in France, and so I thought I'd better get a coach. So I started getting a coach to teach me how to swim properly. Cut a long story short anyway. So I turned up to the national championships 2 weeks before the European Championships, my first big race, and I came third in my age group. So I was really happy with that. Well, I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it. And I turned up to the European Championships. Is probably one of my biggest achievements. And I also came third. I came out of transition last, but I managed to make it up on the run. And I remember always sprinting the last 200 meters. There was two guys in front of me, and I was like, this is definitely for a podium position. What do I do? They knew I was catching them. And I thought, well, I've just got to clench my fist, go for it, run as hard as I can. And if I collapse, I collapse. And that was my mentality. And I managed to just beat them across the line by about 10, 15 meters. And I came third. And then it all sort of changed from there, really. Once you're on the podium, you want to try and get back more on it. And I started becoming a regular in the aquathlon team. I turned up to World Championships. I've turned up to 4 World Championships, and I've had 3 top 10 finishes in my age group. And I've captained the team, which has been a big privilege of mine and an honour, really. I captained the team at the 2017 European and European and World Championships, and the following year as well at the European and World Championships. My best place was 6th in 2017, but I had a better race in 2018. I had a better race in 2019 as well. Finished 8th, and I was the first British guy back home in my age group. And obviously, coming third, you get a bit spoiled. So the following year, in 2017, I came second in the national aquathlon championships. Yeah. And then the following year, in 2018, I won the national championships. And in 2019, I retained it. And I went to the European Championships in 2019, knowing I had a good chance of winning it. I was in peak shape. I learned loads of learned from my mistakes, and yeah, I came first, and I was over the moon, and I defended my national championships, as I said before. And the same time, but that year I also wasn't focusing on aquathlon as much. I was actually focusing on triathlon. I was actually preparing myself to actually try and qualify for GB in my age group for triathlon.
Yeah.
And I turned up later on in September, towards the end of the season, off the back of doing really well off triathlon, focusing on that. And I had a 2-year plan. I actually qualified on my first attempt. I came 11th at the National Sprint Triathlon Championships. I probably could have come a bit higher, but I was a bit scared about it was a bit wet, and on the bike, I lost a lot of places, and I was a bit scared. I nearly stacked it around the roundabout. So it was terrible weather. Anyway, so yeah, I got the qualification place. I got a roll down place. I missed out by automatic place by 0.01%, so not even a percentage. So I knew I'd get a roll down place. So that's basically my achievements and where I'm at the moment.
And then COVID hit, and then you can't do anything.
Yeah, so COVID hit, and I was still training because they were adamant that the 2019 European, I wasn't going to do aquathlons last year, and I was told that European Championships was going to go ahead, and then that got changed in May. But I managed to get a bit of a season out of it towards the end. I changed my training up and adapted it, but it's been moved forward to this year. Whether that goes ahead or not, I might have to wait again next year, but we shall wait and see.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. So going back to when you started, you started in 2012, you mentioned, and I think I was watching a video, and it was the 10K that you did with your mate, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
what time did you run on your first 10K?
So that I think, if you said video, probably was a 5K was probably my 5K was my first race, but then the following about 4 or 5 months later, I did a 10K, and I did 43 minutes 45.
Yeah, and was that with no training, or?
I'd say probably about 4 months training, but I did do a 5K after a month, and it took me 27 minutes.
Wow. So at what point did you think, okay, running to me or triathlon to me? Because you must have seen a quick progression from obviously 43 minutes, 27 minutes. Did you kind of do a bit of training, and then the time started slashing the time off?
Well, it did, but the thing is, I actually got some serious injuries. So I mentioned earlier that I ripped my calf. I had a grade 2. I was out for 6 months.
Yeah.
On and off. I kept coming back this cycle where I'd be running really quickly, faster than before, and then it would go again. And it kept doing it after 3 or 4 weeks. And I know now that I was a novice and I was just training too hard. But when I actually did get in, when I actually sorted it all out and everything, because I nearly quit, but I started going. I went a whole year injury free, and the times just tumbled. They just completely tumbled.
Yeah.
It was just they just went down and down.
Well, this is my first year injury free because I've had problems as well, but mine was mainly Achilles problems.
That's what happened. I had that in 2013 when I came back to do with the bike. I reckoned it was to do with the bike, but it wasn't. It was to do with running, and I was out again for three months with that. Yeah,
well, it happened to me 3 times, and I was out for 6 weeks every time. But mine actually come down to trainers because I was wearing New Balance, and the drop was 6 mil. Now I wear Nikes, and they're a 10 mil drop, and now I don't have any Achilles problems.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah, I mean, I still have problems with my Achilles now. I just have, but luckily I'm able to manage them. Luckily, they haven't stopped me. I do all the strength work and stuff, and sometimes when I'm running, I can feel them, but I know when to stop. So they didn't stop me.
But I suppose you can't change your trainers because you're sponsored.
Yeah, but ASICs do loads of different trainers, don't they? They do a range of different sort of like training, stability and stuff. So, but I actually started off with ASICs in 2012. They're my first shoes, so it's actually quite nice to be sponsored by them. Yeah,
well, since going to the 10 mil drop, as I say, I haven't got any tendinitis at all. I had that for ages and ages. I would go 3 months, and then my Achilles would flare up. And in January last year, I thought I would just, I thought I was fixed. So I tried a pair of New Balance on again, and I hurt my Achilles again.
Yeah, it could be that different shoes. I suppose it all depends. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you used to run when you was younger, or did you?
I did. I used to run when I was a kid at school. When we had to do it for cross country, I hated it.
Yeah.
I also did. I did an 800 sports day when year 10. I used to do the 100-meter sprint because I used to say I was a quick sprinter, but I had no interest in athletics. But when year 10, I did do 800 meters, and I actually trained for it. That sounds big, but I actually trained 2 weeks before, and I used to run a mile to my dad's work every day leading up to the race. But I would stop about 15 times, but I actually did win that but I did puke up after the race and stuff. But I hated it. Never again. And
so when did you stop? When you kind of left school?
That was probably the last time I did it. Year 10. I don't remember running any time after that. I went back in 2010, did a charity run, 5K run with a friend. I didn't train at all for it. And I hated it because I didn't train it. I had to go up these hills. I walked up hills and actually felt quite bad. I felt like I was letting people down sponsoring and stuff. And then in 2012, I did another sport relief thing, and I trained for about 2 weeks before, and with a friend. And that sort of made me think, well, I actually want to do it. But that was it. I didn't do anything running after that. I stopped until September.
Yeah. Yeah, because I used to run as a teenager, as you may or might not know my story. Southern Counties cross-country champion, 159 800-meter runner, and then gave up at kind of 17 and didn't start again until I was 43. So,
wow.
Do you believe in, I know we spoke about this off camera, kind of nature or nurture? Because you think if you train hard, then you're going to make you better. But do you not think there's an element of talent? Because you started in, when you were about 29? Is that about right?
Yeah, 29, yeah.
Yeah, and then you was European champion by what, 35?
36.
36. So there must be an element of kind of talent there, or do you think
45? I'm missing all the years.
Because I'm sure there's loads of people out there that have been doing triathlon and all these different events, whether it be running, that they don't start it at 29, and then by 35 they're European champion.
No, well, I know we spoke about it. I don't think I'm talented. I think I just train and work hard. I do think that there must be something. There must be a bit of talent there. So, but I was saying when I couldn't swim, I couldn't swim at all. And what I do, I actually dedicate. If I'm going to do something, I would give it 100%. I'd go and do it. And the swimming, I just kept going and going, trying to work on it. I'd work on my technique all the time, my breathing and stuff. And I knew I was really struggling, and people would laugh at me in the pool and stuff. But it was the same as running. I learned a lot. So in 2015, 2016, I went a few little studies and stuff, lab tests and stuff, and I learned a lot from that. And how I was doing my training wrong, and I learned from that. And that's, I think, learning and training smarter and training hard as well, and doing the right training. I think you can go quite far. Obviously, when you're talking about the pros and stuff, they are talented. But I know people that have worked hard to get where they have, if you know what I mean, and they become really good out of it. Yeah.
But I just think that obviously some people are born with, natural talents or genetically different to other people. Like as you say, you mentioned this guy that was 50 and he just started, and then he starts winning stuff, or he runs a quick time, and so obviously a lot of people miss their boat, don't they? In life, they could have been a good runner, they could have been a good swimmer, but unless you've tried, or you've been obviously pushed down that route when you're younger, you're not gonna. Obviously, when I was younger, we were supported by my parents, and this is going back to the nature or nurture. I was Southern Counties cross-country champion. My sister was number 2 in England, 800 metres, and used to beat Paula Radcliffe. And my brother used to play for Watford football team, under 18s. So you kind of think, is that genetics, or is that nature and nurture that I grew up? My dad was a marathon runner. My dad was a half marathon runner, really good. Used to go and watch him. So is it, obviously when I was younger, we talk about this off camera, kind of nature or nurture. I just think just that it was distilled, bred into me kind of, as a young age from about 10, that I would go and watch running, and I kind of thought, I want to be like my dad? Or is there just a natural talent? Like, say, for instance, are the Ingebrigtsens, are they naturally talented, or is it because they're all trained really smart and their dad's a really good coach?
Well, I suppose they got to be talented for sure. I mean, but the thing is, with all these people, they start when they're young, don't they? That's the thing. So, I mean, I've no doubt if you carried on when you were younger, how far you could have gone. I mean, I wish I started when I was younger, but you can't really turn back time. I mean, I've got a friend that ran 2:29 in a marathon recently. He did a 55. You mentioned him before, but he did a 55-minute 10K, his first 10K. Okay, he must have. You say he must have some talent, or maybe genetics, but then none of his family are sporty or ever been sporty. So I don't know. It's a bit. I don't know. It's a bit of half and half, I suppose.
As you say, it's probably going to be people out there like the likes of Chris Froome, doesn't produce lactic acid. Phelps, 50% bigger lungs than everyone else. There's going to be people out there that are genetically different to everyone else.
Yeah, I mentioned to you about a friend who ran London in 2 hours 16, and he has to have a certificate with him because he has high levels of natural EPO, and they think he's always injecting himself. So there is a lot, there is genetic. There is something to do. Yeah, obviously with genetic.
Yeah. So if we kind of chat about your training, so someone's mentioned obviously what your mileage is. Over kind of swimming, bike, etc. So I saw a post you did on Instagram that you did 124 miles in January running, 497 on the bike, and then you did 13 strength sessions because you can't
swim.
Can't swim at the moment. So you've obviously got a special machine, I take it, that kind of mimics that kind of swimming. Is that a typical month for you, or or do you do more than that?
No, I actually do a bit more. So I think at the moment, I think I'm doing about 11 hours training a week. Do you want me to talk you through what I would normally do?
Go for it.
So I do. So when I was just purely training for the aquathlons, I was doing four swim sessions, 4 run sessions a week, and two strength sessions. But obviously now I had to put the bike in. So last year, what I did. I still do 4 run sessions. So that would be 2 zone 2 training sessions, no matter what. There'd be 2 interval sessions, but normally the second interval session will rotate, could be a zone 2. So at the moment, I'm just doing 3 zone 2 runs and then an interval session at the moment. So that'd be 3 times a week. 4 times a week. So interval sessions last up to an hour, between 15 minutes to an hour. Runs 45 minutes to an hour. But back in last year, I was doing about an hour and 20 maximum for my run. Then I do 4 bike sessions. So that'd be so I do two 90-minute bike sessions and then 2 1-hour session. Two 1-hour sessions. So one session would be a sweet spot session. And then another session would be interval session on the bike, and then the other 2 would be zone 2, power zones, not heart rate zone, and there'd be just easy steady easy rides. And then I used to do 4 swim sessions, but as I said, I need to improve on the bikes, my weakest part. So I'll do 3 swim sessions, and they last between an hour to an hour and 15, and I cover about between 3 to 4.5K, depending what the session is on that, and then that'll be 2 gym sessions regardlessly throughout the course of the year, a week. So
how do you find the time? Because I'm a dog walker, so I've been doing that for some time now, and I have a lot of kind of hours in the day to do my sessions, but I'm probably running 6.5 hours a week.
Right.
I'm doing 40 to 50 mile weeks on average. So how do you find the time? Because you've got a full-time job as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So I work for the NHS as a performance analyst, and I work 8 till in a normal office environment, I work 8 till 4. Now, luckily, it's only a 20-minute car. My office was only a 20-minute car journey to, and where I live, it's on the main road, and where I live, I used to just go straight past my house, and I go, depending on traffic, I'll be in the gym. I leave work at 4. I'll be in the gym or swimming pool by 20 past 4:30 max. I'd have all my training done by 5:30, 7. I'm normally home and ready for dinner. And if I train, so that'd be Monday to Friday. I train Monday to Friday, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays I have running clubs. So I do that with my wife. So I go to gym beforehand, for example, and then I'll hang around and then go to running club afterwards. Saturday I have a rest day, because normally I'd race on the Sunday, and Sunday I do a big bulk of my training. So the summer, last year just gone, I'd do 90 minutes on the bike, and I go straight on and do the hour and 20 minutes on the run, and then I'll probably about half hour, 40 minutes, and then I'll head off to the sea and meet some friends and go for an hour's swim. And I'd have that all done by about 11 o'clock, 11, half 11. The key is, the good thing is with COVID is that I actually, from working from home and stuff, I actually get up really early now. So I'm up about 5:30, 6. So I'm out training before I'm working now, and then I can do, and then I finish, because I'm working from home. I finish at 4. I'm out training. I'm done by 5, half 5. So that's how I'm managing it at the moment.
Wow. So that's a full-on day. So kind of when you first started, how did it feel when you do a long bike ride and then you have to go for a run? Do your legs feel like kind of jelly and kind of?
Yeah, they used to feel like concrete, as if they were going to give. Well, they were going to give way. They felt like jelly. You just felt tired. But the good thing is that what I was doing originally, I was doing a hard bike session on a Tuesday, and then I was going to a running club, which was an hour break, and doing a speed session as well. So my hard days are hard and my easy days are easy. So I do basically most of my training is zone 2. But my legs would be in bits for this speed session. But after a while, they get used to it. But now what I mainly do is I jump off the bike off at zone 2 ride, for example, and go straight into zone 2 run. And they probably feel like jelly for about 30 seconds, and then they're all right.
Do you find that sometimes I find that when you take a few days off, your body feels worse? And it almost takes a couple of days to get going again if you take a bit of time off. It's almost like you need to keep your body a little bit fatigued. Yeah,
well, there's 2 key things. One key is to keep hydrated. If you drink enough water, you shouldn't really get that, because the water is like your oil of the body. So
I always use these. You probably can't see them because of the light. The electrolytes. Because obviously, carry on. Yeah,
if you keep that and the electrolytes and stuff, but. I forgot what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
We were talking about that if you take some time off.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Naturally, your body, after on a rest day, you'll sometimes find your resting heart rate is a lot higher than it would be when you're training, because your body actually starts developing sort of hormones and stuff to try. It's not used to resting.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So, that's why you can feel sluggish. So that's why sometimes when people have a rest day and then they go into a race the following day, they might feel sluggish to start off with. But I find if you drink a lot of water, don't overeat and stuff, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure about overeating. I like eating, so because I was fine. Like I did Monday, I did 10 miles. I think Tuesday did 11, and then Wednesday done 10. I felt better on the Wednesday than I did on the Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, I always feel really good after a rest day.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird. It's almost like your body. Maybe it's because I'm 46 and getting older now, and the kind of, the recovery is probably needed more. You mentioned that you do a lot of zone 2 training. So zone 2, obviously, depending on your watch, I think Garmin, that would be zone 3. So it's kind of heart rate training. So you're in your kind of math tone zone. Which mine would be around about 129 to 139 within that kind of 10 beats per minute. So would you say you do a lot of 80-20 training? Would you say that's mainly how you're kind of set up?
Yeah, pretty much. Because what happened in 2016, I went on a lab test about how to improve your running economy by running slower, and it was to run in zone 2. And this guy was trying to prove a point that you could get faster by just running most of your training at this zone heart rate, because obviously with heart rate like zone 2, for example, like I could run a 10 mile, for example, today, and then I could run a 10 mile tomorrow, but I guarantee my pace at the same heart rate, my pace would be different, because your body, there's so many factors involved. So what's so good about it is it does teach your body not to overtrain, and the idea was you were able to run the following day, and if you want to run hard, you could run hard. And he found that everyone improved, and I improved. Well, it was 2:15, and it was going on into 2:16 in the test. But I found I improved heavily from it, and I went from a 1:27-minute half marathon to 1:21. Just off the back of that training. So that was basically a part of a big bulk of my training. I had my coach, Mark Shepherd, who coaches me for running and biking, and he shares the same views. Like he's all about zone 2 and about being easy on easy days and like hard, really attack the hard days. But, and I want to mention, like in the summer, like I was doing a hard watt bike session, and then I was going straight on and doing reps. I mean, it was absolutely killer, but it was a hard session, 2 hours worth of intensity, like hard session. But that'd be like one of my hardest session of the week, for example. So a lot of it is zone 2 easier training.
Do you wear a chest monitor?
Always. Yeah,
because my Garmin 235, majority of the time it's all right, but then some days you're like, oh, I'm not sure if it's working correct, because don't you? You know if you're working harder for a given pace. Like I went out on a tempo run on a 6 miler, and my heart rate was at my tempo heart rate, but yet I was running 15 seconds a mile slower than I should be. So obviously I worked out, maybe I was overtraining and took a bit of time off. The zone 2 training, I only got into that probably in the last 6 months, because it takes ages to kind of put your ego to bed, doesn't it? And for you to say, I'm not going to run fast all the time. I'm not worried what people see me running down the road. And because people forget, if you're going to run a fast 5K, then 90% is aerobic. Yeah. So to run a fast 5K, you've got to be training in your aerobic zone, which is slow running. Yeah. So as long as you're doing your 80-20 with a bit of speed work, then you will improve, because everyone just assumes that to run a fast 5K, you just got to do loads of interval sessions.
And that's how I got injured when I first started, because I was under the impression I did loads of interval sessions, and I was even running my long runs. At the time, I was running my long runs at 7-minute 20-mile pace, which was too quick back then. And my legs were in bits and stuff, and no wonder I was getting injured. But like I could go out for zone 2 run. I could do a 2 hour, for example, zone 2 run, and I'll be fine the next day. My legs are fine, and that's how it should be. But you've got to leave your ego behind it. And I didn't believe this process. But I rang this guy up and I said to him, look, I'm running up this hill. I'm walking up this hill. I said to him, what's going on? He said, your zones are right. Just stick with it. And he was right. Within a matter of weeks, the times just tumbled down. And I mean, here's an example, a classic example. At the time, I was training for the marathon while I was on this program. Yeah. And my heart rate strap battery died. So I carried on with what pace I thought I should do, 7:30s or whatever, for the next 11 miles. I thought it felt comfortable, felt fine. The following day, my legs felt like crap, putting it politely, and I could hardly walk properly for 2 days, because I'd gone too far, too long in a higher heart rate without realising. And if I had that heart rate thing, that would have told me to slow down, and I'd have known. Yeah,
it is weird. Did you find it difficult also to adapt your style as well? Because the thing that I found running slower is you have to adapt your technique, and it takes a while to kind of, to sit further back on your heels and to kind of, squat down again.
Well, I did. But the thing is, when people first get into running, they're fascinated with long strides, like I was having a long stride, which is it's all right for a marathon. But the problem is when you've got long strides and you're running slow, it's quite hard. So I find cadence, like you'll see it, like you'll see the people that have been running for years. They have the shorter cadence, smaller steps and stuff. But I naturally started doing smaller steps before that, so it wasn't actually too bad. So I found that it doesn't really affect. If I'm running like really slow, then it does affect me. Then I have to change my style up.
Yeah, well, I noticed I changed my style when I got when I changed to Nike. So my Pegasus 37s have the airbag in the midfoot, which is, and obviously the Tempo Next Sense up there. They've obviously got the air pocket unit, which encourages you to land on your forefoot.
Yeah.
So so I would say the shoes have actually improved my style, because when I first started running, I was overstriding, probably hill striking a bit more. But still now, when I was on my half marathon, I was still, I think, 1.44 m stride length when I was running a tempo pace.
Okay, that's pretty good, yeah.
So I've got a reasonable stride length, but it is difficult to know what stride pattern to do. Are you supposed to run a bit more like Jakob Ingebrigtsen? Are you supposed to be a bit more stylish and overstriding and be a bit more bouncy? You know what I mean? Because
the theory is, like, again, people think if you're doing long striding, you can cover more distance. That's fine, but also you're using more energy because you're overstretching, trying pushing. But if you're actually using small, like for example, cadences, steps a lot less, a lot quicker, you're actually bouncing more off the ground, so you're actually less contact time.
Okay.
So when you're actually striding longer, you're actually spending more time on the ground, because your feet are your foot's more planted to the ground, and then it will come off. So there's little things you can do, and as you said, like, there's loads of shoes, different types of shoes, different types of models, all help with this.
Because I've been contacted by Shane Benzie, Ben Parks' coach, style coach.
Yeah.
So he contacted me out the blue, said he would like to do something. I'm still waiting for him to come back to me, because he's a style coach, isn't he? I don't know if you've ever. He wrote a book on. I can't remember the name of the book that he wrote, but he's a style coach that believes you should bend at the ankle, and it's all to do with running form, that can make obviously a massive difference. So it'd be intrigued to see what he says. Another question: have you ever done an Ironman?
No, it scares me, but however, I have got a back of my head, and I'm quite tempted. Depending what happens this year, I am tempted to do half Ironman next year. Wow.
So I thought to myself once that would be tempted to do a triathlon or something like that. But
you should give it a go.
Obviously, like, how competitive would you need to be? To say, for instance, my 5K time last May was 17:58. I'm probably quicker than that now. I'd like to think probably about 17:30. I used to swim when I was younger, but just like a swim club. But I got size 12 feet, quite big hands, 6'1". So I should be quite good at swimming.
Yeah.
But swimming is really knackering. But cycling, cycling, everyone likes to think they cycle quick, but that's on my mountain bike.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you've got a very competitive time, but the thing is, a lot of people don't realise, is that if you run a 17:30, for example, that doesn't mean you're going to run a 17:30 off the back of a swim, a hard swim, and a hard run. But I mean, with an aquathlon, I was about 40 seconds, between 40 to a minute off. I would probably run, depending on the course, of course, what I'd be capable of running a 5K or. Okay, but I seem to run better off the back of the bike in a triathlon than what I did when I did an aquathlon off the swim. So I don't know if that's because you're resting a bit on the bike with the upper body. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, because out of the event, what's your strongest? Is it the swim, the bike, or the run?
The run's definitely the run and the swim probably on par now. The bike is definitely the weakest, hence why I spend more time trying to work on it, and it's paid off so far. So I'm hoping for a bit more. But you've got
all the gear. I've seen all the gear. You look like some sort of astronaut when you're on it.
Yeah. Well, you have to have the gear apparently to get quicker. I was told, you've got to get a decent bike. When I first turned up to triathlon, I had this really heavy bike, and I paid £70 for it in a second-hand shop. I liked it, but it was heavy as hell. And yeah, people say to me, they said to me, "Oh, you can't race that in triathlon if you want to take it seriously." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I ended up getting another bike, a road bike. It's all right. Yes. So but the thing is, with a lot of in triathlon, a lot of people are cyclists. So you can see when you come off the back of a cycle, you can see a lot of people can't run. And you can tell who the runners are straight away, like the strong runners.
So because the bikes, I know someone that got into triathlon. He spent about $6,000 on his bike.
Oh, they're really expensive.
And like, how much is your helmet? Because your helmet is like a proper aerodynamic helmet, isn't it? Is that really expensive?
No, well, it depends what you mean by expensive. I paid £100 for it, so
yeah, I suppose it's just a helmet, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can go up again with helmets. So I mean, with the bike, I was quite lucky. A local shop had it. Well, basically, a millionaire that shopped in there bought bikes, didn't like them, and used them for a handful of times. And he had the frame lying around. He said, "Well, I can do it for your budget." So I actually got a bike cheaper than what it was. So
I suppose the second-hand market is the way to go, isn't it? Really, they probably lose a lot of money.
I don't know. I think they hold their value quite a bit. I mean, I don't know anything about bikes. That's a problem. I mean, I don't even know how to fix it or service it. I get a friend to come and do it for me. So,
fair enough. So would you say on a triathlon it's best to be a good runner?
Well, in theory, you need to be you need to be a really good cyclist, because that's where you can make most of the time up.
Yeah, because I can't remember his name. He's a British triathlete, quite young, and he's a sub 30-minute.
Alex Yu.
Yeah, which he's on the verge of being like an international runner, but he's not quite quick enough. So obviously he moved over to thing, but obviously his swim and his bike obviously let him down. Yeah,
because he takes. I mean, he's by far the fastest runner, but his swim lets him down, and he is better on the bike, but he's too far to catch. You can see it in the women's one. I mean, have you heard of Gwen Jorgensen? Like, she's pretty much my hero. That's how, like, when I was watching.
Yeah, she does running now, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does running. So she was a really strong runner, and she went into triathlon. And when she first started, she was nowhere. Swimming wasn't there, cycling, and she worked really hard on the two areas that were her weak areas. And then you'd start seeing her coming. She'd be like a minute behind the people coming out off the bike, and then she would catch them on the run. And then eventually she got stronger and stronger and be at the front. So if you work on your weakest areas, you do get stronger.
Someone's asked, what bike do you ride? Have you any bikes in the world that you wouldn't buy? I don't know what that's supposed to.
Okay, well, I don't know too much about bikes. I've got a 2016 Specialized Shiv TT Pro. I think it's called Pro.
It sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about bikes, but what I do know is that their newer version, it looks really good. So if I was going to get an upgrade, I'd probably buy that. But I don't have the £7,000. I think it is on their website to buy it.
So obviously you're having to buy trainers, or your trainers you're getting probably for free because of the for ASICs. So your bike you have to pay for.
Yeah.
Do you have to pay to go to the events?
Yeah. Some events. So the GB events you have to pay for. So that's where you could try and get sponsorship to try and try and get some of the costs to compete there. Some local events, I get gifted some places. They want me to compete there, and if I'm actually if I want to race there, then I would do. And some races I have to pay for. So it's a bit of a mixture.
Because you kind of think to yourself, if someone's running for England, you kind of think, okay, they're probably earning money. They put up a nice hotel, but I suppose you have to be the top lottery funded and be winning kind of.
So I'm just an age grouper, but you'd have to be so the elites and the pros, for example. So the pros, if you do shorter distance like the World Triathlon Series, like the Brownlees, for example, they get lottery funded. They get funded by British Triathlon, as well as their sponsors. They don't have to look for as much sponsors. Obviously, they need the sponsors. They go out, but the long distance ones, like the Ironman stuff, they don't get. As far as I know, they don't get like the lottery funding. So they have to go out and find big sponsorships for salaries and stuff.
Okay, oh, that's weird. We've got another question. No, they've already done that. We've already answered that one.
I didn't actually answer the mileage though, did I?
No, we've already gone through that one. This is the question. So you mentioned that you do strength work. Do you do core weights and roller sessions?
So I do. So I've got a strength trainer, Craig Croggle, who he gives me my program. So at the moment I've got 3 programs during the week. So one's a swim program, and it's for like upper body, and so you do things like ball slams, resistant bands, and core work, and then I have a bit of mixture on my normal program, which will have core work, and I do a lot of leg stuff, squats and stuff, and then there'll be like upper body for the following program stuff. So it's a bit of a mixture. So basically a total body workout for 2 programs a week.
Do you use the rollers or not?
When you mean rollers, do you mean the rollers for on the bike, or
no muscles? For your muscles,
no.
A foam roller or?
Foam roller. Yeah, I use a pulse roller.
All right.
I use that every night for about 10-15 minutes, and every weekend I do as well. I also got recovery boots, so I use recovery boots as well.
Okay, I've seen them. Do they actually work then?
Well, I think they do. I mean, my physio said to me, "Come and try these." A few years back, he said, "Come and try these. See what you think." So what I did that day, I did a really hard hill session, and I absolutely beasted my legs. So I knew that every time I do a hill session, I'm going to ache the following day. Put them on. And then I ran down to his clinic, put them on. This was a couple of years ago, and I couldn't believe it. Following day, I woke up and it was fresh. Legs did not hurt, so I had to buy them.
What do they do then? Do they just send like electric or?
It's like a massage. It feels like it's like a massage. You just sit there and it pumps. It gets the blood pumping to like I've got them on my legs, so you can have them on your arms and stuff. But they go pumping. It pumps the blood round. So I'm guessing the blood recovers. I mean, have you seen in a race sometimes after a race you see people they lie on the floor with their legs up to get the blood back flowing through their like upper body. Yeah. I think that's how it works. It pumps the blood from recovery. So
I suppose that the kind of cheap version is the electric rollers or whatever, the ones that pummel your muscles. I presume they do the same sort of thing.
Well, I think they do a different thing because they're more like stretching the muscles back, aren't they? I suppose they do have their similar effects, but I suppose they're different in a way.
Yeah, to be honest, that's how I need to do more. I'm not a massive stretcher. I'm not a massive foam roller.
I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's probably something that I need to do. It's just like I need to have that seed that's planted in my mind, and then it takes probably a couple of months for me to actually do it. But so what's your future plans and goals then? Because I presume that it's a bit difficult, isn't it, at the moment because of COVID? You don't know what's happening.
So I've got a bit of an ambitious goal, really. So my plan is, my main race is the European Championships, Sprint Triathlon Championships. But problem is that it's the only race out of the ITU calendar that they have not announced where it's going to be or when. But they've assured it's going to go ahead. So if it does go ahead, it's going to go ahead August, September. So basically, I'm trying to train for a race that I don't know if it's going to go ahead. But it was a dream to qualify for triathlon team because that's how it was started. So my main goal is to race there, but it is to I know it sounds quite ambitious, to actually podium on my debut for the GB team. Now I know it's probably a bit impossible, but I know if I work hard to it, I can make it possible. Like I did with the European Championships with the Aquathlon. Like I never expected to get any medals or anything, but the more I worked it and the more I started getting better, then I was like, actually, I need to make my goals better and actually start trying to push for these.
Do you think it's going to come down to how many people have actually trained through COVID? Because you're going to get an element of people who are going to be like, okay, I'll just put my feet up for a bit. You're going to an element of people who are obviously going to train, but motivation is really tough at the moment, isn't it? To kind of get out and do it.
Yeah, I think you're right because when when I did a race last year, I did my only triathlon last year because I got ill for the second one. But I turned up to did a triathlon and it was staggered start. But in the swim, like where I'd been going out and swimming in the sea because I couldn't swim in the pool at the time. I was out in open water and I couldn't believe like people were struggling in just swimming. You could see difference. So yeah, I think motivation is hard. Like, I mean, for me, deep down, I know that I'm not doing any swim training. So how is this going to be a realistic goal? But I know that if I keep working like I did last year, I worked on strength muscles and stuff for swimming part. That when I was able to jump back into the sea the first time I could, I was like, well, actually, it feels really good. So I'm hoping that'll be the same. Yeah, I think it's motivation. But at the end of the day, no training's a waste. Training, just getting out is helping you like mental health and well-being. So like for me, it's all about like just keeping healthy and just enjoying it. Just enjoy the process. I mean, last year I probably enjoyed my training much more than I did previous year, where I probably sometimes felt like a chore. But I didn't have that. Like, haven't had that this year. I just go out and I just really enjoy it. Like, I'm thinking I'm out. I'm enjoying what I like doing. And that's what it's all about, I think.
But I presume everyone else is going to be in the same boat where swimming pools are closed and different countries are obviously going to be different. So, it's just weird, obviously, motivation. Like me personally, the motivation comes from the YouTube channel and, for my own, probably, my own belief that I gave up too early when I was younger, and I want to obviously achieve more. But mine's kind of a 5-year goal. I can't see that I'm going to be competitive until I get to my 50s.
Right.
So, this is my first year injury-free. I think 2019, 2020 was injured on and off, and I knocked 2 minutes off my 5K. I went my first sub 20 to sub 18. So if I can continue doing, the low intensity stuff, 40, 50 mile weeks, then I can't see why I shouldn't be able to get down to, in maybe the 16s, 36 for 10K, low 120s for a half.
Yeah, I can't see. I mean, you saying your PB was about 17, wasn't it? I mean, I can't see why you can't.
Yeah, 17:58, but I said that was in May. And that was, I remember going out with some guys and they run it in 16. So basically I had the camera on my head filming and we were in the space of a mile. They had left me. So I was running on my own. Because when you go off and you look at your watch, they went through the first mile in 5:35, which when you're running an 18 is too quick. You want to even pace it, and I wanted to run at 5:45 mile in. So at the moment, I'm just enjoying doing the YouTube process. Is that something you enjoy? Just kind of doing your YouTube stuff, or
I really enjoy it. I mean, I set up my social media accounts just to inspire people, showing that you can come from nowhere, and like you never know what your journey could be, and it's all about enjoying. And I really enjoy it. I mean, I was quite reluctant at the start to do YouTube. I was like, I don't want to keep filming and stuff. But I actually really enjoy it. I actually really enjoy like helping. And when you get comments and stuff, and people say, you get like personal messages, and people say, there's a phone going off. And people say to you, you're like you're really helpful and stuff like that. It's actually quite nice to see. And like on Twitter, for example, I mean, I've had quite a lot of abuse before in the past from Twitter and stuff, but then you get people that say nice things and you think, actually this outweighs the the people that pick on you. You think, it's really nice, it's worth doing stuff.
Because you've got quite a big following on Instagram and your Twitters, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. It just seemed to I seem to pick up quite a few. When I first started, it seemed to grow quite. I mean, social media's changed quite a bit, hasn't it, since? So
so do you not think you should maybe use your other accounts to push more to your YouTube channel?
I've tried. I kept pushing it, but it just don't seem to come over. I mean, I managed to get 1K subscribers recently, which I was really grateful, really happy about. But I don't know if people still don't. A lot of my followers don't use YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah, well, YouTube, it's kind of it takes a while to get to your first 1,000, and then it kind of trickles, and then you get to certain milestones, and then it trickles again. this isn't it's not a very good time of the year.
I saw Dan's comment.
Yeah,
I agree with him. This is it. YouTube is much more friendly. I mean, I've had no abuse off YouTube. I mean, I haven't had any problems on Instagram either. It's just Twitter seems to be full of like, people just want to like have digs at people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested. I'm a positive person. I just want to cheer people on and let them enjoy their hobby.
Well, obviously the reason I set up the kind of YouTube is that it was May during lockdown. I was a bit bored. I was watching the likes of Ben Parks and Kafuzi and Seth James Damore, and just thought to myself, I might as well do it. So when I bought myself a GoPro, and then just enjoyed the process of making the videos and sharing what I've learned along the way. No, I don't consider myself an expert, but I like to just be honest, tell it the way it is.
Yeah, but people see that.
There's a lot of people out there that kind of they kind of give the BS, so to speak.
Yeah, but people can relate to you, like so that's the thing. Like you're not like a professional elite, so someone will see you and they think, well, actually, look, Chris does this, and I feel like I do the same, and so people can relate to that.
Yeah, no, I think it's good just to kind of tell it the way it is. That it's not all, it's not easy. And you do need to listen to your body. You do need to slow down. When you start running, everyone thinks you've got to go out and smash your PB every time, and we all do that. And it takes a while to actually, especially as you get older and you become a masters runner, that you need to listen to your body. You need to recover, and if you can slow your training down, then you're going to be able to run more consistent, increase your mileage, and lower the risk of injury. And consistency is the key. If all of us go out and we can run, 20 miles a week, 30 miles a week, 40 miles a week, and continue doing that every week, as long as you're doing the right training and you listen to your body, you're going to improve. Yeah,
that's it. Consistent training is key. And if you're going to get injured all the time, one, it's not fun. Two, you're just going to stress yourself. And then the biggest mistake people make when they do get injured is they jump back into what they were doing before when they got injured. So they think, oh yeah, I ran, for example, they say I ran mile reps 3 weeks ago. I've hurt my calf. I'm going to do them now, and then they do them and they get injured again, or a few days. And that's the problem. Is a lot of people do that, but if you learn from it, then you can have consistent training.
Yeah. So this is Ben. He likes to give me abuse from time to time, but that's fine because I'll give the abuse back to him, so it's not a problem. Ben had a question. He said, "Are you subscribed to his YouTube channel, Ben Notley?"
No, but I can do.
Yeah, well, I think the advantage of these live streams is we've got quite a few kind of YouTubers on here. We've got Running Crazy, we've got Ben Notley, we've got Tony James, we've got.
I am looking for more because when I'm on the Watt bike, I do actually watch a lot of session and a lot of YouTube channels there. But obviously, it's hard to find what ones are good or not. But if you've got any recommendations, I'm more than happy to subscribe.
Yeah, it's just a question of obviously, checking out. I've done a lot of Pay It Forward where I promoted some of the smaller channels, and all the channels are different. That some people might like your channel, some people might like my channel, some people might not like my channel. It's each for your own, isn't it? So I think it's something that's grown, especially over the last year. More and more people are doing it. Got the confidence to put themselves out there because it's like these live streams. When I've done the first one, you're so nervous.
I bet, yeah.
You're so worried. But once you get kind of chatting, it's fine. You're just having a chat, aren't you?
Yeah. And you're not actually physically seeing any other people apart from like me and you. So that you haven't got that pressure of other people in the room, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, we'll see that it can be. So if you was to give one piece of advice to new runners or people who are doing triathlon or anything like that, what would it be?
Run slow to get fast.
Run slow to get fast. That's the advice, which I would agree. When, as you say, when people first say that to you, you kind of like, oh, that's not even possible.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't. When you think, oh, I've got to run slow. I mean, I went from running half marathon every Saturday at the time at 6:30-minute miling, and I was absolutely in bits. And then when I went on that study, as I mentioned, I went on the study, and I was walking up the hill at like 9-minute miles, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "This is wrong." And he just said to me, "Be patient." And that's what I suppose. That's what I'm good at. I'm patient. I know things take time. So and it paid off.
Yeah, because I dabbled on a bit of heart rate training, but for me, it kind of taught me how to kind of control my breathing, to almost meditate. That if I kind of run and I control my breathing, then I can lower my heart rate by about 5 beats per minute.
Yeah, and it helps you for breathing in races as well.
Yeah. Do you not find though that sometimes you just want to let your hair down?
Yeah. What you mean? Just go out for it?
Well,
or do you mean...
I went for a run on Tuesday, and it was a really nice day. I think it was like 12 degrees. The sun was out.
Yeah.
I was in my shorts and t-shirt. I just was going on my 10-mile run, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to drop down near the river, run by the river, and then I just I didn't bother looking at my heart rate. I didn't bother looking at my pace, and just went for a run.
Well, the thing is, I don't actually look at my watch when I'm running. Only in intervals. So when I'm doing my heart rate, I let it beep. So if I go over, it will beep, or it goes under there, and that's the only time I look at it. So I just normally just relax and take it in. So I don't constantly look at it.
Yeah, well, on my easy runs, I just have the heart rate screen up.
Okay, yeah, I just have the time on. I don't even look at it. Just only when it goes beep, and it'll tell me that it's gone over or under. And then I quickly have a look, and then I slow down, and then let it beep again that I'm in the zone.
Yeah, but it definitely works. Definitely, But it takes time. As you say, you got to put your ego to bed. It takes time. You got to be patient. Also, you got to make sure the formula works for you, because we're all different. The math tone is, your watch takes a while for it to sort itself out and to get your zones anyway. Your math tone is 180 minus your age, which doesn't always work for people. Some of them are your max heart rate, take away a percentage. Who knows what your max heart rate is? Most of us never push ourselves to the limit anyway.
The best piece of advice, if you want to know your max heart rate, is I don't know if you can get it now, but it's have a lab test done. They're I think about 50 quid, like they're less than the cost of a trainer. Having that done, the data you get from that is so important. You can use that so much for your training. You would improve a lot from just looking at data.
No, it is it's really weird when you're talking. You have to not look at the comments, otherwise you kind of lose track of what you're saying. Because it kind of throws me from time to time. I suppose it's saying that I would, possibly be interested. I'm lucky that I've worked out what my math, what my tempo pace is, heart rate, and what my threshold heart rate is, and I know what my math is. So, it is key when you're out running, and that, if I'm pushing hard and I know that my heart rate's going up higher than 168, then I know that I can't maintain that for too long before my threshold, the lactate's building up, and I'm going to, be running myself into the ground. But because the only problem I find is with the watches, which I probably need to use, is when you do a 5K or track interval sessions, it doesn't follow your heart rate very well.
Oh, I've not had a problem with that.
Yeah, no, maybe I need to wear that. I remember being down the track, and I love the track, and it's like, my favorite session is 6 times 1K.
It's a good session. I like that. It's a good session.
What we do is we do 1K at 5K plus 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Then we do 5K pace, and then we do 5K minus 10.
Okay.
And then we do the same again. And sometimes we do 6 or 8, and we do a 200 meter walk recovery in between. And on my heart rate, it was like 140, which is clearly, Is
that on the wrist or the strap? Because it's the strap more accurate.
It's the wrist one.
Yeah. I've never used a wrist one. Because they don't really work. It's all to do with different sensors. Depends what your watch has got. If it's got different sensors, different layers of the skin they go under. But they're not very accurate.
Yeah, no, I'll probably have to stick the chest one on. I only bought a cheap one, but it seems to work. They both. I bought it just to see how accurate it was, but both of them seem to marry up anyway. But I find that the watches struggle more when it's really cold.
I've not had that problem either. Oh, really?
Yeah. No. Maybe it's just the Garmin 235. It's quite an older watch. It's a lower down model. but that's this weather, you know, when it's like 1 degree, or I presume the watch needs to adjust, or maybe my body's cold, or the watch is cold, I'm hot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up there. I say we've been going we're just coming up to an hour. So it's amazing how you can chat away and kind of for an hour.
Yeah, it just goes really quick, doesn't it?
It's like, anyone, obviously people watching this on the playback and watching now, you know, thanks for tuning in. Please check out his channel. I've got links down in the description. I say it's a really good channel. You know, if you're going to take advice from one of us, you're better off taking it from him, because he's European champion.
Thanks.
But you know, you need to listen to, you know, this thing about running slower. You know, it does work. You know, you know, you've heard it from a European champion. You've heard it from someone who would like to be, you know, I don't know, any champion. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thanks.